Folks, we've been bamboozled. We all know Ridley Scott, accomplished filmmaker, pioneer of the Alien franchise, and a true master of the art of menacing fog. Personally, I love the man. He's usually someone you can trust to create a thoughtful, well-made cinematic experience. However, here's the scoop, here's the tea, the hot goss, is that all of Ridley Scott's movies are exactly the same. That's right, apparently Ridley Scott's movies are like the Xenomorph. They're intense, there's a bunch of them, they're really smart except when they're not, and Michael Fassbender's involved in a lot of them.
Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Maybe too much. So, Ridley Scott often tells movies about resilience or fighting your way out of oppression. And because of this, his movies always hit 4 main points. At their simplest, we have 1, characters being thrust away from home. 2, characters having to think outside the box in order to survive. 3, a large corporation denying help or labeling the rescue too expensive. And 4, a rebel team going back to rescue our hero against all odds, often meeting somewhere in the middle. So let's take this formula and compare it to The Martian, which is Ridley Scott's most familiar and recent success. Also, from now on, spoilers for all Ridley Scott films. Literally all of them, we are going over all of them. So, The Martian is about astronaut Matt Damon as he's stranded on Mars when his mission goes wrong. He must rely on his ingenuity to find a way to signal back to Earth that he's alive, despite NASA essentially giving up efforts to retrieve Matt Damon. His space crew goes against NASA's orders to do all they can to retrieve him and get everyone back to Earth safely. Drop my pen. Now, let's compare it to All the Money in the World, which is a movie that came out 2 years later from the same director. All the Money in the World is the story about the kidnapping of 16-year-old little John Paul Getty, grandson of the richest man in the world, Paul Getty. After being kidnapped, little Paul Getty is forced to fight for his life and survival as he is held ransom, all while Paul Getty Sr. determines that the ransom is too expensive and not worth the cost. It is up to little John's mother, Michelle Williams, and CIA agent Mark Wahlberg to retrieve their son without Getty's help and get everyone home safe. Okay, so did we notice the similarities?
They have the same exact plot.
But of course that's only 2 films. Obviously I can't go around generating crazy stories or theories and just crossing my fingers and hoping they somehow come to a cohesive end, you know? I'm not J.J. Abrams. I need to test my theory from every angle to see if it really stands. There's just one problem with that. I'm not sure if you guys were aware, but Ridley Scott has been making movies since the dawn of time. So I've got my notes right here and we are just gonna plow through. And to help with the visuals, I have another Kevin with me who will be tracking our progress. Say hello to everyone, Kevin.
Hello everyone, Kevin.
Oh my god, Jesus. God damn it. Anyway, in the categories we have original Ridley Scott films, and to keep things emotionally catchy, I'll put a really dramatic title for the other category. Perfect. And you could be asking Kevin, is it fair to really take a bunch of movies with complex character development and tones and boil them down to a simple plot just so you can make an internet about it? Okay, moving on to Exodus Gods and Kings. This is a biblical wartime epic that tells of the story of Moses, played by Christian Bale. This movie's visually gorgeous, but there's no real emotional depth that warrants a good story, so it's gonna be a no for me, dog. I don't know, maybe it's my inability to take anything seriously, but I remember seeing this wave in the theaters and just immediately getting upset that no one was gonna be riding it. Every character in this movie is white in a story about Egypt. It's not like they cared about historical accuracy. Don't tell me you can't get Moses on that wave. I guess essentially my point is that it's a story about how Moses' brother kicks him out of Egypt and he's forced to survive in a barren wasteland. After learning about his true ancestry, Moses returns with his people and is forced to confront his brother now years later in the middle of the Red Sea. So, point for me, and not a point for awesome people surfing waves, because that's not in this movie. Moving on to Alien Covenant. So this movie is the sequel to the original prequel based on the first trilogy of the Alien franchise. And if you still understand what I'm saying right now, then, you know, keep your hopes up, because I too want to lose my virginity one day. In this one, Ridley Scott boldly changes his formula as the characters willingly travel to a foreign planet, but They get trapped and have to fight against an alien until they can escape back to the mothership, which is being repaired. Michael Fassbender helps them escape, and they're left with 1/5 of the crew they began with. So this one follows the formula backwards, which is clever, but I still caught it, and that means it's a point for me. Moving on to The Counselor. So this one is actually just a story of a high school counselor that loves what he does and enriches the lives of the students around him. I'm kidding, it's actually about Cameron Diaz running a drug cartel. Or maybe it's none of those, or maybe it's both. The point is, you don't know, and neither do I, because I didn't finish this one. Guys, this movie was harder for me to get through than it is for Penelope Cruz to say one English sentence. Oh, and Penelope Cruz is in this. It's rough. So, since I didn't get through this one, I honestly don't know if it's original or not, so in fairness, we're just going to create a new category for Brad Pitt in a cowboy hat. Great. And there might be people out there who love this film, and I want them to know that their opinion is completely valid. But it's also stupid. Next, we got Prometheus, and this movie is Prometheus. Thesis? My thesis statement? You know what? It looked better written down. I'm keeping it in the edit. Slap it on the wall.
Kev?
Yeah.
We're starting to run low on time. Do you think you can pick up the pace a little bit?
Is it because I spent too much time talking about surfing Moses?
It was the surfing Moses bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I am just going to start listing off movies where the plot involves people attempting to fight their way back to normalcy. Yeah? Thelma and Louise. Two best friends set out on an adventure, but it soon turns around to be a terrifying escape from being hunted by the police as these two girls escape from the crimes they committed. Now, although this movie does fit perfectly into my theory, I would be misleading everyone if I didn't put it in the category that it truly fit in, which is Brad Pitt in a cowboy hat. Yeehaw. Moving on to Black Hawk Down. In 1993, an elite team of over 100 Delta Force soldiers are dropped into a civil war-torn Somalia. When the two missions' Black Hawk helicopters are shot down by enemy forces, the Americans stay in the area and they get caught in a firefight. The wounded and casualties are evacuated with vehicles, and a few Ranger and Delta Force soldiers are forced to run on foot in search of the safe zone.
You know what, Kevin?
Yeah?
This is still a little bit too slow. We need to move faster.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of these movies. When can I leave?
Okay. Cool. Let's just, let's double it up. Body of
Robin
Lies.
Hood.
A
Robin
CIA
and his band
agent
of
on the
marauders
ground
confront
corruption
down
in
a
a
local
powerful
village
terrorist
leading
leader
an
while
uprising
being
against
caught
the
in a ground that will
unfair
forever alter the
intentions of
balance of
American
world
supervisors
power.
of
Jordan's intelligence.
Hold on. You're telling me that all of these are directed by Ridley Scott?
Oh, yes.
my God,
They
yes, they
are. Come on, keep up, pay attention.
Okay, sorry.
G.I. Jane. A female
former
senator
Roman
succeeds
general
and
sets out
enrolling
to
a woman
exact vengeance
by
against
Renaissance
corrupt
team
emperor who
who
murdered
murdered
his
his
family
family
and
and
sent
sent him into
fail.
slavery. Blade Runner 2049. A young
Blade
Blade
Runner
Runner
must
must
pursue
pursue
and
a
terminate
long
four
buried
replicants
secret leads
who
him to
stole
track
a
down
ship
former
in
Blade Runner
space
Rick
and have
Deckard in
returned
pursuit
to
to find the
Earth to find
coolest
the
porn
creator.
name ever.
Wait. I only printed out one of these. What do I do?
Okay, this has clearly gotten out of hand, and I just want to talk to Ridley Scott directly because I know you're watching. Listen, Ridley. Bud. Look at this board.
Oh, looks like I didn't get off scot-free. Get it? Because it's the production company he owns.
Yeah, bud, that's really funny. Look, it's time to move on from this fighting oppression plotline and do something else. As Dory says to Marlin as they're hanging from the whale's tongue and finding Nemo, it's time to let go. And yes, I purposely picked a movie about resilience where all the characters are separated from each other and have to fight against all odds in order to meet somewhere in the middle of the ocean because, yeah, I'm worried it's the only concept you understand. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, I am just passionate. But you can't sell us the same movie and call it new. What if Disney was to come out and be like, oh, you know what, we're just gonna remake The Lion King, shot for shot. Okay, you know what? I said it out loud. That was a bad example. I didn't hear it until I said it. Okay, what if Apple, one of the largest companies in the world, was just to tweak a little bit of their phone and then call it a new one? Okay, this is gonna be harder than I thought. Nintendo, one of the most original game companies, doesn't just come out with the same game over and over and... Okay, maybe Ridley Scott's onto something. Regardless, Scotty, you're an amazing creative and you're constantly inspiring, so thank you for that. And to truly represent and honor all of your movies, I'm going to end this video the same way I end all the rest of them. Thank you so much for watching. Like and comment down below if you think I missed anything or if you just have something mean and personal to say. And I put out new videos every, hopefully, Sunday. Subscribe. Say goodbye, Kevin.
Goodbye, Kevin.
Oh my god, I just I don't want to deal with it anymore. I can't. I can just turn it off.